Hey everyone, thank you for attending our module today. We'll be discussing collaborations between Black farmers and how it can be beneficial for you. With that being said, let's get started.
First, we'll discuss Black farmers' isolation by identifying your contribution to the U.S. agriculture sales and an approximate number how many Black farmers like yourself are there in the world. Next, we'll talk about the importance of collaboration, followed by introducing the types of support farmers tend to seek. Afterwards, we'll introduce some networking organizations and provide advice on how to maintain those networks once it's been established. Finally, we'll briefly discuss a nonprofit organization known as NC Growth and Smart Up and sum up all of the material that we've discussed today. We also encourage you to participate in a short survey at the end of this module for your feedback and understanding of the material that we've discussed.
So let's talk about Black farmers and your contribution to this country.
According to the Consensus of Agriculture, Black farmers currently represents 1.3% of total farmers and contributes to 0.4% of U.S. agricultural sales, which is approximately $1.4 billion that is solely produced by Black farmers. Black farmers also contributes to 2% of agricultural land, but this number has severely decreased over the last century. In the 1920s, there were 1 million Black farmers and they collectively owned 16 to 19 million acres of farmland, which is about 14% of total farmland. Today, there are roughly 45,000 Black farmers out of 3.4 million total farmers, which is that 1.3% that I mentioned, and land loss has decreased by 90% since the 1920s. Though these numbers have decreased, Black farmers can still come together as a community and help and support each other by minimizing the stressful duties of a farmer.
So let's discuss the duties of an average farmer.
The typical farmer have overall tasks such as providing good quality and quantity food, providing a great variety of food at an affordable price, and coordinating marketing and delivery. By no means are these the only tasks of a farmer, but we wanted to highlight the main goal. Farmers have also been opening their farm and produce to the public to be more in touch with their community, which is a term known as tourism. Now, tourism is bolded here because that is the main focus of today's module. And if you haven't heard of tourism, we highly recommend you visit our first module at the conclusion of this one. Now, after hearing the duties of farmers and possibly the introduction of a new form of income, which is that tourism, this may sound extremely frustrating, right? Well, I have good news for you. It doesn't have to be overwhelming if you collaborate with other Black farmers.
Well, why does collaborating with other farmers help relieve some of your stressful duties?
We discussed how collaborations could help you in food production aspect, but how could it help you through tourism and basically you personally? Collaborating together and introducing farm tours or hosting events such as weddings, lodging, and etc. on your property could serve as additional income for you and your family. Not to mention that it also prevents more of that land loss by Black farmers that we discussed earlier in the module. Collaborations also assist you with support, which we'll be discussing next, provide knowledge due to the inclusion of more diverse opinions, and also sharing equipment because as we were all taught when we were younger, sharing is caring. Plus, it helps establish trust between you and your cohorts. Now let's discuss the types of support that micro-entrepreneurs like yourself have been seeking. Here we have some results obtained from research that was performed on Nature Micro-Entrepreneurs. We want to note that although this research formed with Black farmers, it does represent the micro-entrepreneur community, which you represent as well. These micro-entrepreneurs were primarily seeking support in marketing and advertising, information sharing, and product support as it represented 76% of demand. Another form of support sought out was emotional, which was 14%. And lastly, we have an other support category, which was identified to be support in financial and account and credit management, which was 10% in demand. To take full advantage of the opportunities collaborating provides, it is important that you identify which type of support you need.
By identifying which type of support that you need, we can now introduce you into some events that can help you meet more Black farmers like yourself.
There are numerous events that gathers Black farmers together, one being the Black Farmers Tour Bonfire After Party in Whitakers, North Carolina. This event is hosted by the Hill family who established tourism into their farm by giving tours of their property and promoting their overall goal of healthy eating. There is also the National Black Farmers Association in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is an organization to fight against hunger, land loss, and secure food sovereignty. They are currently promoting their 31st annual NBFA conference, which the link can be found at the end of this module. The last example of networking events that we have is the Black Farmers Market, and I'm pretty sure that you all are familiar with that one.
Other ways to establish networking is by participating and becoming a member of groups.
The National Black Farmers Association has an annual membership fee of $100. The Black Farmers Market has an annual fee of $250, which doesn't include the day of event setup fee. The BIPOC, which is abbreviated as the Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, hosts free workshops and conferences, but does accept donations and encourages you to sign up for their newsletter, which is essential if you want to be in touch with what Black farmers have going on within your community. But once you establish a relationship and form a network at an event, do you know how to maintain it? because that is essential. In order to maintain your network, you need to establish a combination of trust, reciprocity, communication, and togetherness. These are extremely important because if the plan is to share equipment, information, etc., establishing trust to ensure that collaborators won't steal their peers' regular customers or damage their equipment is required. Reciprocity is important because the promotion of tourism business through exchange of support needs to be mutual and not one-sided. Communication is highly important to maintain relationships after it's been established, and examples of good communication would be group text, emails, and social media interactions. Togetherness is ways to create and maintain those relationships, which could be established by forming or attending farm-to-tables, farmers markets, and potluck.
Lastly, we want to introduce an example of an organization that helps Black farmers such as yourself.
NC Growth and Smart Up is a nonprofit organization located in Chapel Hill, North Carolina that aims to transform communities. Their goals are to connect entrepreneurs to resources, strengthen existing entrepreneur ecosystems, and fundamentally change how individuals and struggling communities perceive themselves. It is supported by the Economic Development Administration, Truist, USDA, and the Kenan Institute of Private Enterprise. NC Growth uses skilled analysts composed of graduate students with various backgrounds to assist in helping landowners recommend and/or construct tourism opportunities, compose management plans, assist in marketing, assist in website development, and many more.
NC Growth and Smart Up has continued its networking success by allowing opportunities for clients and landowners to remain in contact.
To promote events, NC Growth uses social media to gather current and previous clients at an event such as the Farm to Table. This Farm to Table event is typically hosted by a current or previous client and has around 40 total guests each year. Invited to these Farm to Table events includes the North Carolina Extension Office, the Coharie Tribe reps, Mount Olive University agribusiness professors, USDA representatives, Seymour Johnson base representatives, Wayne County Chamber Director, and the Wayne County Economic Developer. They also promote the Ag and Art Tour in South Carolina because the clients range from South Carolina to North Carolina. The Ag and Art Tour is a free self-guided tour of farms and markets featuring local artisans at every stop. This provides visitors an opportunity to firsthand see where their food comes from, watch artists in action and purchase their work, enjoy melodies from local musicians, and learn about the rural life. Currently, this event is the largest free farm and art tour in the nation, and it receives up to 45,000 visitors.
Before we conclude this module, I want to give you some key takeaway components that we've discussed earlier.
Remember to work together and not compete, as you all have the same goals of being in touch with your community and making a livable wage to support your family. Identify the type of support that you need. Networking is essential, and you should consider memberships and subscribing to newsletters to establish these connections. Once that connection is established, make sure to maintain it. Consider reaching out to NC Growth and Smart Up, and lastly, continue your positive impact on your community and the world. Here is some additional information for you, and we hope that you learn some useful tips to help elevate the success of your business.
My name is Sam Cook. I'm the Executive Director of Forest Assets. I also serve as the Vice President of our Natural Resources Foundation. In my spare time, I spend time helping minority landowners, sometimes considered historically underserved, understand what it means to own land and retain land. So one of my focus groups is working with a group called the Center for Heirs Property Preservation, where we help landowners understand what I just said, which is the landowner assistance type programs, but heavily focus on their land retention, which is heir property. Also helping them understand what the USDA programs offer them as a landowner, but more inclusive, helping landowners to collaborate not only with themselves, but with other partners. A big focus for landowners, and especially for the historically underserved, is engaging them with other people so they can see that there's people out there that are like them, but also need the help, but also there's people that can help them beyond just landowners in their footprint.
We encourage you to take a brief survey at the end of this module to provide us some feedback and learning how have we helped you or how we can do better. Thank you and have a nice day.